Hey guys, what's up? GreenMachineSam back with another video, and today we have episode 2, season 2 of Minnesota Vikings Rebuild. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to put season 3 and season 2 together in the same episode and make it a little bit longer, and then do seasons 4 and 5 together. I have recorded all 5 seasons, basically, so I'm just, it's really determined based off of what I feel like doing. Do I feel like doing longer episodes? Do I feel like doing just more content? I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. But like I was saying, we came off of not a great season, I'm going to be completely honest. We tried to rebuild the team as best we could. There's not a whole ton of options. Something I've learned over doing my franchises and doing some rebuilds that I've done that I haven't turned into content is just a couple things that free agency isn't as stacked as it once was. And now that is good and bad in certain aspects. It's good that teams are keeping their players, but teams are also keeping their non-star players. So taking a look at the team, it looks very good. We brought in a bunch of rookies. We brought in Jim Doherty, Killian Bigsby, Nick Franklin, Dalton Rayner, and Bobby Altman. So we rebuilt that interior offensive line. We rebuilt the quarterback room. We rebuilt the wide receiving room just a little bit, especially with Jordan Addison becoming such a superstar last year. It does help a lot. I'm not going to lie. It does help. We brought in Leo Carmichael as well as a couple other rookie guys. We brought in Drew Smith and Jared Fowler as backups as well. Ivan Pace is still here. Brian Asamoah. We brought in De'Aaron Payne last year on a trade which sent out Kirk Cousins. We brought in Derek Nottie, Greg Gangs, and then we still have Harrison Phillips for last year. And we brought in a couple rotational guys. Amari Powell, if you guys didn't see at the end of last season, we found him in free agency as an undrafted free agent rookie. 70 overall, we're only going to have him for a year. And of course, if we re-sign him, then he will stay longer. Mike Adams, we also traded for. He also is a superstar. He is also a rookie. The Bills actually ended up signing him. I don't know how they got to him before I did, but they did. They signed him. We traded for him, and now he's ours. He's going to be that backup strong safety and free safety. We're going to get him a little bit more playing time than probably we should than other players. And if we can re-sign him, of course, as well, we'll be in an excellent position. Louis Cine still here. Of course, the Minnesota Vikings not starting him right out of the gate as a rookie kind of hinders his development just a little bit since he is already 25 years old. It will take a little bit more time to develop him than it should. And Ivan Pace should have star, in my opinion. You come into the league as an undrafted rookie and you make the starting lineup for a 53-man. I think you deserve star. But then again, Madden's kind of weird about who they give star to, who they give superstar to, who they give X Factor to. Who they give anything to is kind of just annoying in how they go about certain things. Taking a look at the specialists and special teams just going to be best available and try to set up realistically. And specialists, we're probably just going to do best available for the most part. We are going to have Jordan Addison back in the slot. I really want to put Killian Bigsby in the slot, but being a 66 overall, it's going to be hard to get him going. If we put him in the slot, he's not going to develop as fast as somebody like Jordan Addison, and Cam Akers is going to be that lead back. At the midseason mark, we are 2-5, heading into a game against the 2-4 Saints. The Bears jumping off to a real hot start, 5-2. The rest of the division only has 2 wins apiece, so we do have some trade offers for a couple people. That is to be said. We do have some upgrades available as well, staff points as well, mock draft, players negotiation, and scouting national focus, of course. We have all types of stuff to get done at the midseason mark. It is the busiest time of the year, especially in franchise mode. Players ready to negotiate are Justin Jefferson, Byron Murphy, and a couple others, of course, in there. Byron Murphy, I'm going to actually look to trade off. I'm not going to plan on keeping him. We also have to bring back the 2 superstars as well as Danielle Hunter. And if the team isn't heading in the right direction, I will start trading some of these pieces off. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I do like to keep as many pieces from the original team as possible. But if the team isn't progressing in the right way and they're getting older and they're regressing and all this and that, I'm not going to hold on to, pieces just because they were once a part of the team. That's not how I'm going to do things. That's not how I'm going to run this rebuild. We are looking to trade Derek Nottie, and the Cardinals offer just makes the most sense. A 5th round and a tackle for Derek Nottie. He's only on a 1-year deal. It's not going to hurt us too much. And we get a backup offensive tackle. I think it just makes the most sense here. Some other teams are interested in Jeff Okudah. And as much as some of these offers look nice, I don't feel like fleecing teams. I don't feel like fucking over teams. Like the one from Kansas City, they're trading Jawan Taylor and a pick for Jeff Okudah. And I went and looked at their team. They don't have a backup right tackle. Their best backup right tackle is a 67 overall. Why would they do that? Like, yes, even if corner is a big need for you, I feel like offensive linemen aren't going to get traded for defensive backs in the middle of the season just because, So I ended up going with the Chargers. It makes the most sense. Darius Davis being a return man, and then also giving us a pick in return for Jeff Okudah, who wasn't getting a hold on playing time anyway. Made a custom trade for Alvin Kamara, Byron Murphy, and Alexander Madison going to the Saints for Alvin Kamara and 2.6. He's really expensive. He's regressing heavily at this point. The reason why we're going out and getting him is because he's a very good all-around back. And if you guys do not know, in Madden, running backs are more valuable in Sim than you would probably believe. Trying to get Amari Powell signed early. I know this is a little cheesy, a superstar player. If we can develop him on the correct path over the next 3 years, we can easily get him up to a high overall in terms of this 7-year deal. We're giving him $1.5 million in salary, $1 million bonus. So it's not going to be much, even by the end of his deal. I like to show these breakout development challenges anytime I get him. Mekhi Blackman going into the Chicago game in Week 14 does have a chance to go out and get star. If he gets it, cool. I'll show you guys. If not, and he does. He gets star development. He will be a star now. We might even move him up on the depth chart now. He gets 10,000 XP as well. Justin Jefferson now we're going to negotiate with. One way you can always tell how much a player really wants, go in, see what the top offer the CPU wants to give him, and just kind of negotiate off of that. Justin Jefferson does resign. Awesome. We did not end up making playoffs, going 6-11 in a pretty decent division. Lions 5-12. We were actually below the Lions for quite some time. We were actually below them there for a little bit. We ended up winning 2 of our last 3, if I recall, and actually beating the Lions in, I think, Week 17 to take the lead above them. Looking at the Pro Bowl roster, since we did not make the playoffs and did not make the Super Bowl, CJ Ham on the playoff roster, the Pro Bowl roster, as well as a couple others. De'Aaron Payne to be noted as well. And then I don't think anybody else really got on, if I remember correctly. If they did, they were a safety. Oh yeah, Harrison Smith made it as strong safety number 1 as well. Looking at the season recap, the Atlanta Falcons took on the Buffalo Bills, winning a Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl. Desmond Ritter MVP, Arthur Smith Coach of the Year, Pat Mahomes NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson Offensive Player of the Year, Von Miller Defensive Player of the Year, Keelan Bigsby Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Paul Lawson for the Bears Defensive Rookie of the Year. Looking at the stats, Jim Dotery, 3,900 yards, 22 touchdowns, 16 picks, 62 completion percentage. Pretty good season for him, especially in year numero uno as rookie. Rush game, still not there. The reason why it looks weird is because I did end up cutting Alvin Kamara at the end of the season. He was going to have a $23 million cap hit. I could not afford that. If I remember correctly, after signing, Justin Jefferson, trading for Kamara, all that fun stuff, I'm pretty sure we only had 11 mil left. So I cut him to get back up to 30 or 40 million, and then hopefully we can, be on the right track. Jay Jettis and Jordan Addison both over 1,000 yards, 3 touchdowns for Jefferson, 7 for Addison. Keelan Bigsby in the slot in the later half of the season picks up 974 yards, 9 touchdowns. TJ Hawkins, 700 yards, 2 touchdowns. We just weren't really getting the ball out enough. I think the pass numbers have to go up. But then again, like I've said before, the rush numbers do influence a lot of what you're able to do on this offensive side of the ball. If you don't have a good running back, of course, the rest of the offense struggles. Sacks just still not there. De'Aaron Parent had 10. Danielle Hunter had 7. Rashawn Gary had 6. For how much money we're spending on this defensive line currently, it is not working out right now, and it is frustrating to say the least. I know it's only 3 guys, but then again, most teams in the NFL only have 3 really talented guys, if not only 2 really talented guys, and they have a bunch of, pass rush specialists, and they get home plenty. We ended up re-signing Sergio Aguilar, the kicker, as well as re-signing Danielle Hunter. Lewis Cine had a 5th-year option. I just don't think he's worth the money that the 5th-year option is worth. If he continues to develop correctly, then we could possibly re-sign him and just have to pay him early. As well as the fact that by the time he would come off of his 5th-year option, he would be 27. I'd rather lock him up in the short term than just continue to let him go. But like I said, he has to develop correctly if he wants to stay here. In free agency, I'm going after a bunch of just gap fillers at the moment. I'm going after Eddie Jackson to hopefully come in and fill that safety position. I think we're going to trade Sam. I don't think he's really worth holding on to. He just hasn't developed. The Vikings didn't do us any favors. We're also filling that defensive line out as well as our running back group, trying to get the running game going, trying to help this quarterback and receiver duo in Jim Daugherty. If we can get a run game going, it would help us a lot more. This first trade, we're trading Christian Fulton, Louis Sean, and 3 7s of 2027 and a 6 of 2027 for a second from the Seahawks a second from the Seahawks in 2025, as well as 3 cap fillers. Danielle Hunter's going to the Texans for Roman Parker. I decided, you know what, it's time to tear down. The team just hasn't progressed the way I've wanted it to, and there's no point in continuing to hold on to some of these players. Harrison Smith has regressed from an 89 all the way down to an 83 in 1 year. So we're trading him to the Texans for 2 3s. So all in all, we're trading Harrison Smith and Danielle Hunter to the Texans for a defensive tackle who is coming off of a rookie year in 2 3s. We're trading Josh Oliver to the Jets. The Jets have no tight ends currently on their roster, and Josh Oliver costing $11 million for a backup tight end just is not worth it. We're going to send him to the Jets for 2 4s. Just doesn't make sense to continue to pay him. In free agency, we're also going after Matthew Judon, and I think that's DeMonte Jones, Javon Curse, Dietrich Wise, BJ Hill, Mike Adams, who we're going to re-sign, and we're going to give him Superstar back. It makes no sense for him to lose Superstar in a year, and Andrew Van Ginkel. Of course, all these guys are just fillers currently at the moment, backups, stuff like that. We got to bring in people and fill out the roster. And at the end of free agency, I didn't feel like updating you guys on every single week, but we did get Ryan Stonehouse. He was one of our only multi-year deal guys to come in. Eddie Jackson, Matthew Judon, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, and others. Just filling out the team. That's the biggest thing, is filling these gaps, even if it's with a bridge player, even if it is just with a veteran. Tommy Tremble at 25, costing us not much money for a backup tight end. I think he's going to make as much money in the fucking term of his contract that we were paying Josh Oliver for 1 year. Going into the draft, the Buccaneers take a tackle to protect their quarterback. Buccaneers take an outside backer. Lions take the outside backer I wanted, who was supposed to fall till 6. I didn't show the mock draft, but he was supposed to fall till 6. He gets taken at 3. That's kind of weird. Patriots take an offensive tackle. Saints take an end. Broncos take a tackle as well. Us being up at 7. I don't like it. I'm going to actually end up trading back. So we're trading basically equal value. It's just we're moving in different spots. We're going to let the Steelers take the pick for us. We're moving up 5 spots in the second. We're moving up, 12 spots in the 6th. But then we're, of course, moving back that 1 spot in the 1st. I guess the Raiders deem that worth quality. I don't know how much quality that actually is. I'm looking here, and the Eagles are just offering the best overall trade package, right? They're giving us the 1st this year. We're moving back 12 spots. My guy's not supposed to go for a little bit. If he goes, I do have other options as well. It's not just him. And then we are getting a futures 2, 3, and 2 7s from the Eagles as well. Roosevelt Small here is a defensive tackle, which I am particularly liking. I don't know. We needed defensive tackles, right? We're running the 3-4, so we do need 2 to 3 of them at minimum. And Roosevelt Small just makes the most sense. Hidden dev trait, 93 strength, 76 speed, 84 acceleration. Next pick is Zach Cousins at pick 7 in the 2nd round. He's going to play outside backer for us. He's 6'6", 274, 23 years old, right-handedness, Penn State. He looks good. He's not as good as I was expecting. No dev trait, of course, does suck. He will move to outside backer, though. Tyree Hillhouse, good-looking safety. I'm going to take him here. He has good, physicals. I think he should be fine enough. We don't need him right away, but if he does have a higher overall, we will look to start him. 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 68 strength, 86 agility, 84 change of direction, 21 years old, 5'10". He looks good already off off to a good start. Aaron Moses is another decent tackle I liked. I wasn't 100% sure on him, so I did wait on him. He does look good right now, so we are going to take him. He has 81 speed, 80 acceleration, 90 strength, 6'4", 304, 22 years old, a Wisconsin speed rusher, hidden dev trait. Looks great. I'm going to say something, and I don't know how many people are going to agree with this. I don't like that the overall is hidden, especially when you can see it right after the draft. J.R. Ross here, middle linebacker. I think I reached on him. He doesn't look as good as promised. Normal dev trait does really, really suck. 88 speed, 88 acceleration, 85 agility. He looks like a fine pass coverage linebacker. I just don't know if he'll be the guy that we needed right now. Anthony Zimmerman. These are just value picks at this point. We're just going to take who we can, especially at pick 11 and I think the 4th or 5th round here. Looking for backups as well. Quality starters for cheap. Quality backups for cheap. And that's all we're really looking for. Kadrill Gross out of Texas. We're going to take 21 years old, 6'4", 249 vertical threat. Something I'm going to say as well is with tight ends, it seems to do better to take the possession tight ends, just like how you're supposed to upgrade possession on tight ends. It just works better. Mike Chambers here, wide receiver, normal dev trait. We're just not hitting on these picks. I think I'm looking at too much of the upside and too much of the physical traits. I'm not looking at the skills or the core attributes, as you might say. Archer Rutland, another pass coverage linebacker. We're trying to find somebody to make a difference. He does have hidden dev trait, 86 speed, 90 acceleration, 79 agility and change of direction, 74 jumping, 69 strength. 22 out of USC. He looks fine enough. He could come in and be a backup or a lower starter day one if he has a high enough overall. Tommy Vick here, just another guy on my board. He looks pretty decent. One thing I will say, I do like taking zone corners more than I like taking man corners because of the fact that I do upgrade slot on all my corners. That is the main thing I upgrade anyway, which means he is going to get his man coverage upgrades. He's going to get his press coverage upgrades, all that. J.J. Moreland out of Michigan, 21 years old, slot. He looks just very good. Slot, 6 foot, 198, 21, 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 91 agility, 82 change of direction. If he's a 73 to start off, we could easily throw him in as the backup slot or even the starter slot and probably get going right away. Next pick, we're going to take Tyrese Hall, free safety. We're going to draft 2 safeties here. Well, actually 3 because we have Zimmerman as well. He is 5'11", 202, 22 years old out of Ball State, and he does have a hidden dev trait. 89 speed, 81 jumping, 79 change of direction, 87 agility, 92 acceleration. Dak Fitzpatrick just has too much upside for us to pass up here on. Good speed, elite strength, solid change of direction, good agility, good acceleration. Just a lot of good, even though speed doesn't look that good. Apparently 79 speed is good speed. I guess great speed is probably, 81 plus. And then elite speed is probably 86 plus. He just has a lot of upside. There's no reason not to take him. I don't want to trade out of these picks. Patrick Ellis, pass protector, center. I don't like drafting guys that are power as much because those are easier to upgrade, especially since those are the upgrades that I like to do. 84 strength, 80 acceleration, 75 agility, 63 speed, 6'5" pass protector out of Texas. So looking at the draft free class, we definitely reached on a lot of these picks. Mid to low 70s and then high 60s on a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys won't come in and start right away, but they could be quality backups. Aaron Moses, good pick. I like him. He should be able to start day one for us. Zach Cousins, I'll let play as well. But then a guy like Archer Rutland, Tommy Vick, and then Zach Fitzpatrick, all not very great picks. I'm going to be honest. Even if they have dev traits, it's not going to change much, It's really not. Looking at the rest of the draft class, a safety went at 16. He is a 79 for the Colts. Courtney Melton, a corner, actually had on my board and was hoping he would fall a little bit later in the second. It was a 78. That kind of sucks. Brendan Drummond, another corner that I had on my board, 76. Folk, 76 as well. Just a lot of guys we missed out on. Ty Buchanan, a tight end I actually had on my board as well. Went top of the third, and he's pretty good, Manuel Worthy, another safety that I was considering taking. Just good talent, and I passed up on a lot of it, which really, really sucks. So, to kick off Season 3, we are making a couple trades. We're trading Wayne Morris for some cap fillers and a 6. Most of these guys were going to be cut players. Darius Davis, Dietrich Wyatt, and Jaquelin Roy in a 2nd for Devin White and a 5th from the Bucks. Upgrading this middle linebacking core, Javon Curse, Theo Jackson, and Andrew Van Ginkel for a 5th. Like I said, a lot of these guys were going to be cut, and I just don't think it's smart to keep them around. Ed Ingram, Justin Jones, and Zach Fitzpatrick, a rookie that we just drafted for a 6 and a 7. Like I said, just a bunch of guys that weren't going to make the team. So here's the team going into Season 3. It looks pretty good. The main problem right now is just progression. We got to keep progressing the correct way, getting these guys, progress to the next stage. I don't think we can sit here and be very just, oh, well, let's wait on him. No, it needs to start. It needs to start happening. If players don't start progressing, we're going to have to move off of them. So Brian Asamoah is going to be the linebacker 2 now. Zach Cousins is moving out to outside backer. Roman Parker and Avery Moses. I think it's Avery Moses. Both are going to be starting at those defense tackle spots with De'Aaron Payne. Roosevelt Small just wasn't very good on outside the end spots, and he wasn't very good comparatively to Roman Parker. The team looks good. Like I said, just progression at this point. Sergio Aguara, I got training camps done, so Sergio Aguara, Jim Daugherty, and a bunch of others have upgrades, of course, to them. I'm not going to show you their exact upgrades, but I'm just showing you guys that they do have upgrades. Ahead, we are at week 8 now. We are 3-4, and just the division's bad. 0-6 Lions, 2-5 Packers, 2-4 Bears. We are just not playing well. It's just the other teams are playing even worse. And if we keep this up, we'll make the playoffs, which is unfortunate if we are still playing bad, of course. Actually, let's go check out player negotiations first. So we are losing Christian Darrisaw after this year if we do not resign him. Brandon Asamoah, Andrew Booth, Dramonte Jones, and Ivan Pace are the big ones. Most of the veterans I'm going to let walk, of course. And a lot of these guys are just mentors with the mentor tags or are just gap fillers at the moment, because I didn't know if we were going to be able to draft certain positions. But a guy like Brian Asamoah, who just isn't playing particularly great, or not really playing great, but not progressing in the right directions, I don't know if we're going to bring him back. We are bringing back Christian Darrisaw. That is the one big name that we do need to bring back going into next year. Hell, even a guy like Andrew Booth might not be brought back. Some more upgrades at the end of the season: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Anderson, Cam Akers, Mekhi Blackman, Andrew Booth, Daugherty, Powell, Altman, Franklin, Hillhouse, Adams, Bigsby, Moses, Cousins, Moreland, and others all have upgrades. So I'll upgrade those guys, and then we will hop into the playoffs. Christian Darrisaw is getting a 7-year deal worth $18 million a year. He does re-sign. At the trade deadline, we are also trading BJ Hill. I didn't think we were going to need to trade him, but we are. The best trade package is definitely the JOK package from the Texans. It makes the most sense. We can get another stand-up backer with no cap penalties, only a cap hit, so we can cut him or trade him at any time. It's an upgrade. I personally enjoy this, and I'm going to accept it, and that means the time of Ivan Pace and Brian Asamoah has come to an end. We are trading them to the Saints for Jake Haener, DeMarco Jackson, and Malik Cunningham for a 2nd. The guys are just cap fillers, and then of course we're getting the 2nd. At the playoffs now, we went 9-8, so we slowly turned the season around, going from 3-4 to 9-8. That's not bad, Winning 6 games, losing 4 games, that's not completely terrible. We turned the season around a little bit. We lost to the 2-14 Lions in Week 18 to not go 10-7, which does kind of suck. But hell, we made the playoffs. I don't think those are Saquon Barkley's actual receiving numbers. If they are, which it could be because they were the worst ranked passing unit on offense, whereas we just had a very bad defense and not a great running group. Do have some more upgrades here that we do have to take care of. later in the season. So, well, before the playoffs. This is what the playoff bracket is going to look like. Falcons and Chiefs both get byes, and we will be taking on the 5-seeded Giants, San Fran Eagles, Cowboys, Panthers, Bills, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Jags, Ravens, all looking to move on. I'm not going to hop into games really at all until I actually think we're going to start winning games. Fortunately, we do beat the Giants 38-27 in the wild card round, which is very fantastic, all things considered. Especially being a pretty bad team, and we weren't even looking to compete necessarily this year. I think that's a great step in the right direction. More upgrades after the wild card, just showing those off real quick. And we did lose to the Cowboys 31-13. It's unfortunate, but like I said, it's only season 3. We weren't looking to be competitive. Season 4 is where you really have to start looking to be competitive and put on your best performances, as well as season 5, of course. So going into the off season, we do need to revamp a couple of positions and possibly trade for a couple higher named profile players. In the Pro Bowl, not a whole ton of players from us. Brian O'Neill made it, of course. Finally, one of the tackles made it, which is nice to see. And then Chris Ashmore, who didn't even return a fucking punt. This is how stupid fucking Madden is. He didn't even return a punt in the regular season and was named to the Pro Bowl roster for special teams. Cam Akers, 943 yards, 5 touchdowns, 400 yards for Daugherty, 168 for Kamara. Still not particularly great. It's better than last year, but it's still not great for us, Jim Daugherty had some pretty good stats if you saw him. 115 catches, 1,511 yards for Justin Jefferson. So I think he might have accidentally got switched into the slot because the other two receivers kind of suffered. 800 yards for Big B, 700 for Addison. Sacks are sacks. It's not really going to change much. Even if you put the best O-line on paper in Madden, they're still going to let up sacks in Sim. So 125 tackles for Devin White, 118 for JOK. Aaron Moses, 17 tackles for loss. Zach Cousins, 13. And Rashawn Gary, 8. Sacks still not there. When we're paying a combined total of probably $40 million for De'Aaron Payne and Rashawn Gary, and they're just not putting up sacks, it kind of sucks. We're looking to lean on you guys. I'm not saying you guys got to go up and both put out 20, but at least double digits would be nice. Picks for a couple players for White, Blackman, Booth, and Hillhouse. So, nobody really made the list besides Daugherty for MVP at 6, which is pretty good, all things considered. It's nothing too spectacular. Justin Jefferson was 4th in Offensive Player of the Year voting. No Vikings on Defensive Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year for offense, I don't think we actually had anybody that would have been worth noting. Zach Cousins and Tyree Hillhouse and Aaron Moses all make the Defensive Rookie of the Year list. Not quite winning it, though. Bills took on the Eagles. They won their first Super Bowl ever. Josh Allen is your MVP. Patrick Mahomes is MVP of the regular season. Rashee Rice and Aaron Donald win Player of the Year. Zach Morris, a rookie wide receiver that I liked, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Kurt Baker from the Jags. This is something surprising. Archer Rutland, the left outside linebacker that was a 63 when we drafted him, is an X factor. So he was a 62 when we drafted him. That explains why he got 2 upgrade points without even playing. Now, of course, 64 I think is just too low to play. So going into the re-sign period, Jordan Addison has a 5th-year option, and it's going to cost $34 million if we pick it up, or we can reject it. He plays on the final year of his deal, and then we re-sign him. I'm not going to pick up his 5th-year option. Now, you might say, well, that's kind of dumb. Why would you do that? It's another year. Justin Jefferson's making 36. I'm not paying him 34 as an 86 overall. Sorry. It will be cheaper in the long run just to go ahead and let him get to his contract negotiations early, and for me to just pick up the tab then. Andre Booth here, I'm going to try to lowball here. If he accepts and comes back, that's fine. He wants to be here. I'm willing to have him here. It's just I can't pay him much money. I know I have $74 million in the bank right now for 2026, but it just doesn't make sense for me to spend extra money that I don't need to. So that is the big thing. CJ Ham, I want to keep around. He is pretty important to this Vikings team, in my opinion. He's going to go test out free agency. But with that being said, guys, let's get to the next stage. So something I'm doing differently a little bit in this free agency period is I'm going to be going after players with the mentor tag to help develop players even more. It's something I hadn't been doing over the previous couple seasons, but I'm going to do it going into season 4. We're going after Teron Johnson. We're going after Alvin Kamara, Trey Turner, Kirk Cousins. I do not have one of my negotiations available. Apparently that glitch is still in effect. So at the free agency recap, we did end up getting Teron Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Dietrich Wise, Cody Whitehair, CJ Ham, Khalil Mack, Zeke, Eric Kendricks, Smith, Filer, Fuller, Phillips, Turner, Amos, Williams, Cousins, Lowry, and Ryan. Most, if not all, these guys do have mentor tags, which will help with XP boost. When you get all these XP boosts combined, you should have a pretty easy time at developing players, especially if they have star, or even if they have a normal, they should go pretty well. It has us taking a running back at 25. Now, we do need a running back, but I don't think we'll be able to develop one. The guy that I do like, though, is Thurman Beasley, linebacker, power rusher out of UCF. Going to take a couple looks at the first couple picks, and then we will head to our pick at pick 25. If not, we will move up. So the Saints take a QB, Wilkins. Lions take a tackle, and Alan Tuck taking another tackle here. Second straight year. Matthew Kruger and Von Quick both go. Both edge rushers I really liked. I wanted to go up and get Dakota Richardson out of Ohio State as well. And I just couldn't justify heading up to one of these picks because if you know, edge rushers aren't normally high overalls coming out. Clayton Kelly was supposed to fall until like pick 15 based off of where he sat on the big boards. But in the final mock draft, I think it did say that he was going to go pretty early, and he ends up going there. So we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. Daquan Alexander goes to the Rams there. We are going to actually trade up with the Broncos. We are sending them a first of 2028, a 4, a 3, a 3, and a 5 of 2026 for their first round pick. We are trading up. We're going to go get our guy that we want and need. Jalen Bean is the guy we are going for. He's a zone corner, 6'1", 188, 23 years old out of UCLA. Good press, good zone coverage. I like drafting zone coverage corners because it's easier to upgrade their slot. He does have hidden dev trait, 93 speed, 88 jumping, 93 change of direction, 91 agility, and 90 acceleration. Should be a good pick for us. Next, we're taking our edge rusher here at pick 25, Jabari Haynes out of Stanford, 6'3", 255, 23 years old, power rusher. He looks fine. Athleticism wasn't really there, but his traits looked pretty good when I looked at him, and I really needed an edge rusher. And one thing that you can always tell as well is if they move up or down the big board during the season, or even positional boards. Bobby Watts is our next pick at pick in the second round. He's going to be a guard. We drafted 3 interior offensive linemen way back in season 1, but some of those guys will be coming off contract soon, as well as when you have a chance to take somebody good, you take them. Bobby Watts, best available. Thomas Shields here is going to be playing as a stand-up backer, not as an edge rusher. So he will be moving to inside backer, run stopper. 6'2", 243, 22 years old out of Louisville. Good athletic traits, ratings. He's looking really good. He should come in, hopefully help us out if we do have to move on from one of the older guys. Kevin Tucker, I'm taking my power back. I've done this in multiple different franchises and things where I'm like, okay, this running back's going to fall because of older Maddens. They don't fall. I don't get them. It's Kevin Tucker, 5'11", 22 years old, out of Tulane. Looks pretty good for a power back. Power backs are some of the easier running backs to scout and be able to bring in. Nick Barrett, out of Auburn, 6'2", 183 pounds, 22 years old, slot. He had incredible athletic traits and then good upside, so we're going to take him. He does have normal dev trait, though, so that does suck a little bit. We're trading the rest of the picks. I'm not going to draft, and especially once you get into these later seasons, I'm not going to draft a guy because of upside. I don't have time for upside. Upside is the first 2 to 3 drafts. After that, you cannot continue to draft, upside. And we had a really good draft. The only one that I really thought was going to turn out better was the edge rusher, and I thought the stand-up backer and the second corner were going to be worse. They turned out to be better, so we did get some pretty good talent going there. The team's going to look nice, of course. We have to just start putting it together on paper, putting it together on the field, and get going. Is just the main thing, These guys have to develop is the big thing. And with a lot of the mentors coming in, it should help as well as staff upgrades. Going into next season, we are trading Cam Akers, Tommy Tremble, and Zeke a first, a third, and a fourth. The third and fourth from 2027, the first from 2029 for Breece Hall. We're going to go get that running back. Running backs mean a lot in Madden, especially Sim, so we're going to go get him. Mekhi Blackman, Chris Ashmore, and J.R. Ross. And 2 fourths from 2027 and a second from 2029 goes and gets me Kayvon Thibodeau. We're just going to upgrade. Fuck it. Get guys that are on semi-decently cheap contracts. Mekhi Blackman never developed correctly. Jay Ward never developed correctly. We're saying Jay Ward, Tommy Vick, and Derek Foley for a fourth of 2029. Just getting rid of some of the guys that we were probably going to cut as well. We're getting value, and we're at the point where it's win now. We got to start going. So Bobby Altman's going to slide over to that center position. Bobby Watts is going to come in and play right guard for us. Breece Hall now in. He's going to help out a lot. Kamara is going to help out in the receiving game. Tucker's going to help out in the power game. Team looks good. Some weaknesses are still development issues more than anything. The defense back's not really developing in the correct way. The D-line not developing entirely great. All this stuff. Now, of course, Avery Moses does have 2 upgrades as well as Jalen Bean has an upgrade as well. So, we have some room. Hillhouse has 2 upgrades as well as he has Star now. He basically got the Star from Tyrese Hall, who originally had Star when we drafted him. They now have given the Star development to Hillhouse, basically. Cousins and Jabari aren't as good as I was hoping for, so they will be just playing those backup positions as of right now. We do still have Zimmerman and, a bunch of other young talent. But that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video or any of the videos like this, I should have Season 4 coming out soon as well. The reason why videos have slowed down a little bit, I just haven't had time to record. I'm hopefully going to have about 5 videos coming out over the next 7 days or so. 5 or 7 days. Sometimes I don't like putting out a video a day just in case one's either blowing up or I don't have another one ready or I don't have more content, for further down the road. I think the team's moving in the correct direction. I don't think it's ready to fully compete yet. I think we're missing 1 or 2 pieces. I could be wrong, though, but the team's looking nice. And especially with the news in light of the Vikings actually trying to sell off a lot of their veteran talent. There's a rumor going around that Kirk Cousins could get moved, that Danielle Hunter could get moved, Harrison Smith could get moved. A couple people could get moved that are on expiring contracts, especially from the Minnesota Vikings, over the next couple weeks. With them going 1-4, Justin Jefferson getting put on IR, their fumbling issues, their defense still is bottom of the league. They have all these different challenges to overcome, and they're looking to sell off pieces. This looks like a correct rebuild to be putting out right now. But with that being said, guys, like I said, if you guys enjoy this content, please stick around and subscribe. I have more videos coming out like this. I have Seasons 4 and 5 coming out after this as well. I have more Titan stuff coming. I have more Madden content just in general. I might start doing picks as well every week. I think that would be pretty cool. But with that being said, guys, I'm out.